Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow Up Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind to become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Hello. Happy Monday. How are we doing? Once again, it's a gloomy day outside. Although the sun was out this morning and it was giving me life, it was giving me a reason to live, genuinely. And these days, I really am grateful for the sun, genuinely. You're always grateful for things when you don't have them. Anyways, today is technically an off-topic episode, but we are absolutely going to be staying on topic. We're going to be talking about everything to do with the holidays, especially regarding toxic families, spending the holidays alone. Maybe you're single. Maybe you're honestly like most of us, we're still in the 20s. You know, when you're in your 20s, I feel like Christmas is kind of like holidays in general can be kind of weird because like maybe you're no longer around your family, like parents. I'm sure you go home maybe, or maybe it's toxic, maybe it's not. You don't really have your own traditions, this, that. What do we do? How do we navigate it? We're going to talk about it all. You guys asked me a bunch of questions on the podcast Instagram. If you're not following, follow the Glow Up Secrets podcast on Instagram if you want to participate in the Q&As when I ask. And you guys asked a lot. So I compiled a list. I'm going to give you guys my best advice. And we're going to kiki. Listen, I'm wearing my Nashville shirt because clearly I have left my heart in Nashville because why I've been thinking about it every single day. I want to go back. Listen, if you guys didn't know, I went to Nashville. When did I go? Oh my gosh, October. I went to Nashville in October, like basically last minute because my friends were saying they're going to Drake concert. We decided to go. Drake cancels this concert. We decided to go anyways. Had the best time of my life. Honestly, I wish I stayed for longer, but yeah, no, actually maybe not because it was like, yeah, no. But like, I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean it like we were going out. We were drinking. It was such a good time though. I freaking love Nashville. And so Drake actually rescheduled his concert. Now I refunded the ticket because honestly, I have a little bit of PTSD because I'm like, I have trust issues. I can't trust that he's going to not do this to us again because he's done it before. So I'm like, if I don't get this refund, then I'm going to have this ticket once again. It's going to be postponed and this, that. But now I'm regretting it because I want to go back. I mean, I could still go back. I could just get another ticket, but I'm like, I don't really know. Although I do think that the Drake concert will be so much better than the one that I would have actually gone to because it's with J. Cole. So kind of beating myself up about it. But at the end of the day, I can just go if I want to. But recently, Tate McRae's been putting out music, or she dropped an album, I should say. It's called Think Later, I think. It's so good. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with 3 main songs right now. One is Run for the Hills. The next one is We Are Not Alike. And the third one is Calgary. My heart is still in Calgary as well. I'm a coastal cowgirl, although that's not really, is it coastal? I don't know. Anyways, bringing it back to Nashville, she's going to be performing in Nashville in August. Morgan Wallen's going to be performing in Nashville in May. So I'm like, I have some opportunities to jump on here. I might just have to go back. Now, you might be thinking, why don't you just see her in Toronto? Because she is coming to Toronto. I'm pretty sure I'll be in Sweden. So I'll be a Europe girly. I will be going to Europe this summer, which is very weird to say because I never thought that I would ever be really going to Europe. So we'll see. So if I can't see her here, I definitely am going to go to Nashville. But I'm also thinking like, do I just go see Morgan Wallen? Because y'all know how I feel about Morgan Wallen. But anyways, we will see. I'm feeling the Nashville vibes. I absolutely love Nashville. Shout out to anyone who listens from Nashville or even Texas. I need to go to Texas, honestly. That's another place. All right, let's just get into it, shall we? Because we have a lot of questions and I am here to help you genuinely because I feel like I'm 28, if you guys don't know, and I've navigated my 20s so far, and my 20s now are much different than how they were when I was 20, 21, 22, like the early 20s, and I definitely felt the loneliness of the holidays a lot more than I do now. And for many reasons, I definitely did deal with a toxic family environment, but I also just didn't have a lot of money. I was navigating my life. I was working a lot. Like I didn't even really have time to enjoy it. And there was a lot of thoughts that I had towards that. I felt very not a part of the holidays. I felt like it's not that the holidays weren't for me, but I just felt like I saw everyone else in their families and I didn't have that. So obviously like that made me feel like shit. But in general, I just didn't feel like I was able to really celebrate because I'm seeing everyone online and they're having the greatest time. And that would make me feel really depressed to the point where there was definitely many holiday seasons where I just honestly sat in my room, didn't romanticize anything, didn't enjoy anything. And all I was doing is watching other people live their lives. And I was so sad or jealous or envious or just feeling like it was never going to be me. And the thing is, I'm 28 now. Yes, my life is a little bit different. We're going to talk about some of the mindset shifts that I've, had giving you guys the advice, but I still don't have the perfect family dynamic, although my family's great and I go home and see them. But you guys know, I've talked about this before. My mom went through her addictions. She's no longer an addict, which is great. But my family life is not perfect. I go home and there's definitely still things that, there's a lot of repairing, a lot of healing that needs to be done, and it's happening and it's great, but it's still not perfect. I don't have the going home for the holidays and like, I don't know, like all of the crazy traditions. I have them. I have my family and I'm really grateful for that. And recently, actually, we've been now renting a home for all of us to stay in, which is crazy. And I just love it because we're all older now, like my cousins, like we all have more, I think, like disposable income in a way. We all are just like more mature. So I feel like we're now really trying to do our best to make sure the family stays together and that, but it's not like necessarily, I don't want to discount it because it's great. This is literally what my life is and my family is, but it's not like what I thought that it was going to be, and that's fine that it's not. But also, like, I know eventually I'm going to have my own family and like my own children, and we're going to have our traditions, and I don't have that yet. So like, I'm also still in this energy of like not having that completely yet. I live alone. Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to say that because, I know it's easy to say when you're a little bit older, maybe a little bit more money or more time freedom or whatever, but I will say, like, I'm not like I don't have this like perfect holiday experience the way that I used to dream of. But anyways, let's get in to the questions because there's a lot. So somebody asked, a few of you guys, like actually not a few, a lot of you guys had this question about dealing with toxic family during the holidays. So I'm going to just do my best based off of what I've gone through. All of this advice is just what I've gone through. But a lot of you guys did ask. So I wanted to say that because you're also not alone. Like, you are not alone. I used to think that I was alone when I felt alone during the holidays, and no, you're not, which is great in a way, So how to cope with toxic family when you can't get out of the house yet? Yeah, obviously it's hard when you are younger and you're living with your parents, or you're living under a household that's not really the healthiest. And someone had also asked just like how to be around family in general, but like in a healthy way when they are technically toxic. And I think there's like a process I kind of wrote out here, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but I think the first thing that's really helped me with a lot of things in my life, especially when it comes to like looking at my family life in terms of like my mom and her addictions when she was going through that, and even losing my dad, and just like my life circumstance and family dynamics in general. Instead of holding this anger, resentment, sadness, everything, which they're so normal, those emotions need to be let out. And honestly, I would say go to my first ever podcast episode about forgiveness, letting go, and moving on, I think it's titled, because I think that episode has helped a lot of people. But I think there needs to be this acceptance for what the situation is at hand. And I think for me, for the longest time, I wasn't accepting what was happening in my life because I didn't want to. Obviously, I had this idea of how my mom was going to be and how my life was going to be and how my family's supposed to be and holidays and everything in general, and it just wasn't that. And I was not accepting it. And it's hard to accept things you don't want because, of course, we'll have this argument of, well, if I accept it, then it's going to continue to happen, and we don't want that. So that's why we don't accept things. And it's not about that. When it comes to like forgiving and letting go, moving on, you need to have this acceptance piece for yourself, to not reside in so much anger and so much setting yourself up for disappointment type of energy. And so just looking at your situation in your life and just being like, you know what? This is just what it is right now, right? Like, you have certain family members who think a certain way, who have certain beliefs, people who don't show up the best, your financial situation, people who have lost themselves, whatever the case is. And it takes a mature mind to get here, but really everyone is just operating the best that they can. And I know you might look at it and be like, no, well, this person should show up this way. Like my mom should have just been there for me, but my mom was dealing with her own demons. I understand that. I understand an addict's mind. I've been there and I've watched the journey, and I've obviously like this type of work I'm really interested in. So I feel like I lean more to understanding, but I understand that there's always a reason why we do certain things. There's always a reason why people show up shitty in relationships, why people have certain judgments, why people are rude, why people are mean. There's always an internal battle. There's always an internal thing. And this is something that you really need to understand about people in life. And this is not to always be like, oh my God, like because people have different opinions in you, like they're bad and they're wrong. But in general, like when you have people who are nagging at you, who are telling you how to live your life, or, oh, you shouldn't wear that, or, oh, you've gained weight, or, oh, you shouldn't, when you're bringing home a boyfriend, or this, that, and the third, what they're saying is based off of how they view the world. But the way they view the world is not the truth of the entire world. But of course, our parents sometimes, my mom thankfully never did this to me, but parents or caregivers, they will almost like manipulate you to believe like the way that they look at the world or their beliefs are the only thing. And you can even bring this to religion. And we're not going to get into that. But I just wanted to say that because that's like how I'm able to not get so worked up and not take things personally, even when it comes to relationships, right? Like say it didn't work out or like a guy wasn't treating you right. It's like, babe, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me. Okay. The reason why you can't show up and the reason why you're X, Y, and Z, the reason why you're treating me like shit is because genuinely something's not really clicking in your head a little bit. You know, again, this is not to completely judge the person because at the end of the day, we all grow up with different needs and wants and we value different things and we look at the world in different lights. Okay. Just because somebody looks at the world differently than you doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means they look at the world differently than you. We don't need to get worked up about it. Now, obviously, let's bring it back to being toxic. Obviously, the worldview that maybe these people have or whatever they're saying to you is clearly not nice and clearly not probably like the right thing to, be looking through the world through. But understanding, you know what? I'm not even going to be here to change people. That's how I look at it. Like what I'm not going to do is run myself dry and try and convince you to see how I should be living my life or, beg you to like me or I'm going to change myself or I'm going to get a boyfriend now because you tell me that I need to have one by this age. And I know it can be hard because it's your family, but it's just because they're your family doesn't mean that they know absolutely best for you or that you should be following every single thing the same way that they do. Also, our parents, like they just don't live in the same day and age. I want to be careful with what I'm saying because I'm not trying to like deter people from not listening to their parents or not connecting. But I just think like really accepting for how people are can really help you release that anger and frustration and not even be so disappointed when people don't show up a certain way because realistically, like people are all operating out of their own traumas, their own unhealed things, their own wounds, their own mindsets, right? And I think accepting people for who they are, that's when you can step into this energy of understanding. And I kind of already talked about this, but maybe even just getting curious and listening to your family members. And I know like, I'm not talking about if someone's like yelling at you and calling you bad names, obviously like don't listen to that, but just getting curious about when they're telling you a certain worldview or telling you their opinion. We don't really have to like put it to the side. Like we can sit there and we can understand them, we can listen to them, we can see their point of view, but that doesn't mean we have to take that on as our truth. Now they will probably want us to, but okay, that's them, that's not me. I don't need to take your beliefs on as truth. And that's why I feel like I can be in rooms with a lot of people who think completely different than me because at the end of the day, I just understand that like everyone thinks differently and like okay, like it doesn't really, I'm just going to live my life and do what I want. This doesn't mean I'm a bad person because I'm living my life this way, even if you see it that way. And I think another thing that can help being around toxic family and toxic environments really is managing expectations. And I think I really had to do this when I was in my early 20s, where I had this vision of what I wanted the holidays to look like or what I wanted my family to look like. And it just was not. And I would get so distraught when my Christmas didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, or I wasn't getting the support or the love or the consistency from my mom or family, whatever it was. And like I was really getting distraught because I had this high expectation of what they were supposed to be and look like and do. And this is not to not have any expectation, because you should really expect people to show up in your life. Like, this is how I've had to retrain myself in terms of men in relationships too, right? Because I didn't get much in my life, and then now I have to get into relationships where I have to expect that from men, because if I don't, then I'm going to be accepting the bare minimum. We don't want that. But at the end of the day, understanding and knowing the people that you're going to be going home to see or whenever it is during the holidays, I just think sometimes it can help save you the stress by not expecting much. I feel like sometimes we expect, like I remember when I was younger, I would expect, let's say this is like material, but I would expect my mom to get me presents the same way everyone else's moms would get them presents, which is a normal expectation. Of course I wanted that, and of course I deserved that, but the reality was my mom didn't have a lot of money. She was struggling a lot. And I knew that though, but I would still have this expectation of being like, well, my mom should get me everything. And then of course, when she wasn't able to get me everything, I would feel like less than. I would feel like I would internalize it. I would judge the situation. I would judge her. I would judge our whole life. I would even compare and everything like that, which is a normal thing to do, of course, because you're kind of let down. But it's also like, now in my life, like I don't really I only expect what I know that I'm probably going to get from these people, because that's just where they're at. Now, this doesn't mean, again, you don't want to have expectations, like higher ones, and people should show up for you. But I just think that when it comes to like toxic family, it's best to kind of manage those and just understand, this person has this type of capacity. This person really only talks about these 3 things. These people will probably get enraged if we start talking about this topic over here, and just like understanding that and not expecting them to understand you or understand where you're coming from, or to bring you a bunch of things, or to show up in a certain way, because I just think sometimes when you do that, you will continuously just get disappointed. And I think the best thing that you can do is kind of accept people for who they are, and do what you need to do to make yourself sane and stress free as much as possible, and continue to move on and continue to build a life outside of the people who clearly are not on the same path. This doesn't mean you cut out your family. All of my family's in my life, and I'm talking about like my mom, right? I just managed my expectations. And when you have to manage your expectations, sometimes it's a grieving process. And so obviously, like, maybe you need to do the therapy, and maybe you need to journal out your feelings and stuff, and maybe you need to let things out, because obviously, like, it's hard to accept the fact that maybe your mom is not really going to be that person that you thought, or your family is not going to be that support system that you thought. But I do think it frees you to be able to actually go in the direction of where you deep down actually are yearning, which is real connection and real family and support and love. And I wasn't able to even seek that out in my life, because I was too tied up on looking at my mom being like, you should have given me this, and look at our life, and look at how shitty everything is. And I think that takes a lot of maturity and understanding that even our family, they only have certain cards that they can deal and they can work with. But I think that really you release yourself, and you're able to then create your own traditions, then be happier in your life. So that's just what I have done. And like now when I go home, like I don't have an expectation. I don't really have many expectations like of my mom, and it's not even in a bad way, or my family. I just accept it for what it is. I take in this love and what my mom and what my family can give me, because I know that people have it worse. I know that my circumstance is still really great, and I just would rather not spend a bunch of my life just being so resentful and so pissed off that my life is not like picture perfect, when this is just the reality of life. And all I can do is look at my family situation or the toxic situations that I've been through, and I can learn from it, and I can make sure that that doesn't happen for my children, and it doesn't happen for me in my own life, because we all have our own lives outside of our families. Like, our family is our family, yes, but like, you have your own life, and you will continue to. And So I will have my own traditions and I will have my own family with my husband, my children, my own friends. And that's great. And I can think about that. And that's going to be great. And that's what I kind of bring my mind to instead of dwelling in the things that I cannot really fully change, which is, let's say a toxic family. I don't think my family is toxic though. So yeah, that's just kind of my process. And also having boundaries, right? Like, depending if there's people in your family who like to kind of project what they think you should be, act, do in your life or whatever, you might have to have some mature conversations and say, you know what? I'm okay to listen. I'm okay to speak about this, but depending on what you're talking about, but this is how I view the world and this is how I want to live my life. And it's not healthy or conducive for me to continue to go down this argumentative route with you. And I would just really love if we can come to this mutual agreement of like, these are maybe the things that we talk about. Maybe these are the things that I no longer talk about. Like I can even think about this in like religion or politics. If you come into family where they have like strict beliefs, like maybe you need to assert this boundary in a way of saying like, you know what? I'm going to accept you guys for how you view the world and stuff. And I don't even mean accept it like you're condoning it. I just mean like that's how you view. I'm not trying to change you. But I also would just hope that you could respect me and my beliefs and we can maybe have a conversation about something else because, I want to embrace and accept some of the beautiful time that we have together. And I don't want to spend it arguing or feeling less than or, feeling put down. You really have to speak sometimes, and I know it can be very, very difficult. So what I'll say is if you don't have a family where you can really speak that or you feel safe to do that, doing your best to kind of bring your mindset to the, understanding that these are people with their own issues and it has nothing to do with you, no matter what they are saying to you. Unfortunately, of course, you want to seek out help or guidance or talking to somebody who really does understand you in your life. That can really help. But I even think like let's bring it back to me early 20s when I would, let's say, go home. My mom's life and my family situation was a lot different than it is now. It's much more healthier and more stable, but it wasn't before. But I would still have to go home because obviously like I wanted to see my mom. But I wouldn't stay for long. I would go, I would say hi to my family. Obviously I went to my grandma's house. My family, like it's not really the issue, but like even just like being around my mom, like I just knew how she was living her life back then just wasn't, it would trigger me a lot in many ways, obviously. So I limited the amount of time that I would go home. I would drive home, see everyone, and like honestly the same night come back. I wouldn't even stay over because I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. I was really stressed a lot of the times being around somebody who would trigger me all the time because she was also still going through what she was going through. So you don't feel bad about that. And that's something that I kind of struggled with because I was like, I want to be around my mom, or I want to be around my family, but I felt really like triggered all the time. And I just had to understand that, this is not the time. Like, again, coming back to the understanding of like, this is what the situation is. It doesn't mean that's not going to change. And that's what I told myself. But right now I cannot put myself in these positions where I'm just spiraling or I'm just feeling like crap about myself. So I'm going to do my best to remove myself the best way I can. So I know it depends on, maybe you live in the same household, having those conversations, doing your best to kind of like have a soundboard, maybe a friend or another family member, like a cousin or somebody that you can talk to. But honestly, just looking for cues of safety, right? If you can't necessarily get out of that situation, but even if you can, like, where can I go? Can I go back into my room and, maybe call a friend? Can I watch a movie that's going to make me feel a little bit more calm or present? Can I do some breath work? Can I do a guided meditation? Can I listen to a podcast that's going to remind me like I'm safe, I'm okay? Is there a family member that I can kind of talk to? Can I get busy with a project or my own routines? For me personally, I was just able to remove myself. So I would just make sure to leave as soon as I possibly could. And when I was driving home, I would just kind of remind myself in the moment and tell myself, and this is something that I was going to say to you guys, like, this is not going to be like this forever. I know it feels like it's going to be like this forever, especially because it's like your family, but it's not. And I think that the best thing you can do for yourself is to look for those cues of safety as much as you can. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You're not going to have a perfect holiday, especially if you're going through it. But I think that the more you can look for those cues of safety and set those boundaries and understand people for who they are, you will be able to take those steps to building a life where this is no longer your reality. This is not about erasing your family, like I said again, but there's going to be a day and time. I promise you this. If you feel like it's not anywhere close, I totally get this, but there's going to be a day where you have more disposable income, you have your car, you have your home where you can remove yourself if you need to, or maybe you'll have your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your friends, you'll have a friends giving or like whatever, the Christmas Eve type of stuff. You will have that support and community that you won't feel like the way that you're feeling now. So always reminding yourself like this too will pass. Okay, that was a rant. Next question. How to create your own holiday traditions when you barely have any. I think with anything, you have to start slow. And I think sometimes when we see on social media, like everyone else's holiday traditions, it's like, oh my God, I don't have that. And like, I don't have family, I don't have friends like that. And I don't have da-da-da. But understand, like, honestly, most traditions, they start very small. They start maybe with one or two people starting something, and then maybe you're adding more of that community element, or maybe you're bringing that into your family. Like, your family starts with like two people, right? And then like you have a kid, and then that kid has a kid, and then cousins and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and da-da-da, friends, connect, this, that. So sometimes I feel like when you're single or alone, or you don't really have like a family and lots of traditions, that like you can't have any because it's just like yourself maybe. But the way a tradition starts is smaller, on a smaller scale. So I don't really have any traditions myself other than honestly just like decorating and making my place really, really cozy, and spending some night or weekends with either friends doing Christmas themed things, and just really making a point to connect with my friends. I feel like I'm at an age where I have a lot of single friends, but I also have friends who are in relationships, but I definitely have a lot of single friends. So I find any and all of my friends who are available, and it like whenever I have time, and we just do whatever we want. Like, yeah, let's go to like Christmas bars, or let's go to the Christmas market, or let's have a girls' night in and watch Christmas movies. Or even for myself, if I can't find anyone, all right, like I'm going to dedicate a night to decorating my place and getting it really cozy and comfortable, and I'm going to watch Vlogmas. Like, it doesn't have to be this huge thing. Maybe you really love cooking, or maybe you like painting. Like maybe you're doing some sort of like holiday Christmas theme, like arts and crafts, or you're coming up with a recipe. It doesn't need to be a big thing. It can just be like one thing that you do, and you can start by yourself, or you can start with maybe a friend. And things can also change as well. I think that that's another thing. Like especially when you're navigating your 20s, like a lot of these, like there's definitely going to be girls that I know that I'm probably like, they're not going to be in my years of 30. And I hate to even say that, but it's kind of true. Like I just know that there's going to be some people in the city that I might not see when I move out of the city, wherever that be. And that's fine. Like it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be talking to them, but maybe they won't necessarily be a part of my every year Christmas Eve holiday party. Who knows, you know? So I think just start small and really do what you want, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who have certain traditions, like whether that be like a certain recipe or a food thing that they're doing, or everyone has their, like, you know, you go to this one person's house and they always have this extravagant Christmas Eve party. Do you like doing that? Because maybe that's not going to be your tradition, right? Maybe your tradition is literally going to be like you and your boyfriend every year you're watching Home Alone, or you and your best friend watching Home Alone, or whatever. That could be a tradition. And obviously it can change. I think you have to do what you actually enjoy, not what you're seeing everyone else doing online. For me, I really love this idea and I love to do it, but I'm not there yet, which is like hosting. I know for sure when I have my home and I'm more settled, more grounded, probably when I have kids and my husband. I don't need to have kids and a husband to do this, but even if I'm like living in my own home and I ain't got no husband or no kids, that's fine. I can do this. But I can only do so much of this in my place right now. But I do definitely want to have those, and this is like beyond holidays, but I want to have those Christmas Eve parties, those holiday parties. Not a lot, but just maybe like one of them. Even when it comes to like my children's birthdays, you know, it's going to look however it's going to look for me, specifically for my family, but I definitely want to have those traditions or celebrations, I should say. Even let's say my kids, I always think back to like my brother. I have a brother, by the way, but he's my half brother, same dad, different mom. he used to play soccer. So all the kids would always come over to their house because we didn't share the same house. We had different moms. So our moms all had different homes. And they had like a really nice house, nice in-ground pool, like super beautiful. And they would always have the soccer team come over and all the kids would just like play after soccer. I want that for my kids. I know that is what I want to do. Even when it comes to, let's say, my husband, because this is the thing. And I know it sounds really pick me, but I don't care. I do not care. And I think this is like a normal thing. When you are dating somebody, most likely that guy is into some sort of sport. Some sort of fucking sport. So most likely that's going to be a part of your life. You don't have to like, obviously that doesn't need to be your entire personality or like, you don't need to even like that. That's fine. But I would love to like hold a Sunday night football game at our place and just like have some good food, have some drinks, like have a good time, whether we're watching the game or not. Like the girls are coming over, like I would love that. Or even if it's girls' nights, okay? I don't even know. I'm just thinking about being 30 years old and like, let's say like 35, like, will I really want to have the girls over to watch Gossip Girl? Probably. But like things like that, I don't know. I just feel like those are the types of like traditions and things that I would like to have with connection and community. I obviously can do that now, but it's just on a smaller scale. So I can start having that tradition. Now, really in my life right now, I'm really fucking busy to be able to do that. But slowly I have been doing more of those types of things, like having more not community involvement, like people I don't know, but friend involvement in my life, doing certain things around the holidays instead of just doing everything on my own. Like I was doing that for a while because I was grinding and I didn't have time. But now in my life, I'm able to, okay, like let's have a few girls over and like let's have a Christmas night. Maybe it's not the Christmas Eve party that I'm going to have when I'm 35 years old in my suburban home, but that's a start, right? So just do things that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be super big. Somebody had also asked like, what's your advice on seeing everyone else live this aesthetically beautiful Christmas holiday, whatever, just enjoying it and like you don't have that. Please do not compare your life to people and what they're doing on social media. And I know the feeling because I used to do that all the time, but how I look at it is this, and this honestly brings it back to kind of like jealousy and enviousness in a way. I'm not saying really that we're all jealous, like it's this like huge shadow we need to work on. But realistically, when you see people and you're feeling like crap, instead of looking at it like, oh, I can't have this, or oh my God, everyone has this and everyone's so lucky, but not me, look at them as being motivation. Like, oh my gosh, one day I'm going to be able to have a family. Look at the grandpas and the grandmas and this, that, and like everyone's having a great time and the children or the girlfriend and the boyfriend, they're going on dates at the market and this, that. Okay, I don't have that right now, but that's fine. It's going to change. Right? And understand that these people didn't always have all of this as well. And I just think that's important to remind yourself. But I understand that sometimes it can feel really lonely. And another question was like the first time during the holidays feeling lonely, how to deal with being single during Christmas. And I think this just ties back to what I've been saying. It's not going to be forever, but I know it can definitely be hard. And I honestly think that you let those emotions out. You cry if you need to, because honestly, it does suck sometimes being alone and single. Now, I've been single many times during the holiday season. And even when I've been in relationships, some of those relationships, like, it wasn't like the suburban life with my husband and the kids, like it's not, and that's fine too. But I just think that like, it's not going to be like this forever, but definitely like let yourself feel the fact that, yeah, like this is a time where it's not like the other times. And a lot of you guys were saying like, this is the first time that you've been single during the holidays. And it's like, yeah, you might have to mourn that loss. It's going to feel different. I feel sometimes we try and run away from this feeling of loneliness and sadness and like, oh my God, I wanted to feel the same way. But the truth is it's not. But that's also okay. This gives you so much different perspective in life and you're experiencing a new chapter of your life in a different light. And yes, it can feel hard and like probably not the best, but tell yourself that it's not going to be forever. But also like, that's okay. Life ebbs and flows. There's so many different seasons of life. Like not every single season, a holiday season, you're going to be in a relationship, or not every single holiday season, you're going to be around family who's super healthy, but it's going to change. And I just want to say somebody had said they lost 2 family members I actually don't know if it was like during the holidays, but they're going through the holidays and they just recently lost. And I just obviously want to say I'm sending you so much love, so much compassion, so much understanding during this time. Losing two people, losing anyone, especially around the holidays. And I know, like, I've seen so many, it's like so devastating, genuinely, around this time. It's like even worse than losing anyone any other time, which sounds so bad. I actually lost my dad on Thanksgiving. When he passed away, it was Thanksgiving Day. So I kind of like, I know the feeling of like this thing is supposed to, this day or this holiday season is supposed to be so great and you just lose somebody. So I just want to say, sending you so much love and compassion during this time. But the reason why I'm kind of tying it back to what I just said is because like they're saying like, how do I handle going through this? And I think you just have to understand that this season is going to be different. It is going to be different. And I think for a lot of people, even when we're talking about the war, right? Like, it's not going to be a happy season for a lot of us. And I think that instead of trying to make it something that it's not, and giving yourself the room to just mourn the loss and grieve and let it out and go through this process, although so uncomfortable, I think is something that's very healing and that needs to be done. Well, this time is not the best for a lot of people, and I think that it's okay. I think that whether we're trying to look for change or not, regardless of what we're talking about, just allowing this, all of these emotions, all of this, everything to be what it is at this moment. It's not about like making things okay or right. At least for me, I've been able to do a lot of healing has come out of me actually releasing resistance and trying to control and trying to make things be what they need or what I think they need to be, which is happy or not sad, you know, when you're going through something. So I'm sending you, again, lots of love, compassion. Anyone, obviously, who's going through hard times right now. Now, I guess to bring it on a lighter note, and I'm talking specifically for the holidays. When it comes to like being alone during the holidays, I love to put my focus on things that make me feel happy. So whether that be, I don't know, you love a certain show that you're watching, or again, you're connecting with friends, or you're making certain plans, or you're working towards goals, or you're speaking on topics that really excite you and ignite you. You're listening to podcasts that really motivate you. You're on Pinterest and you're like creating dream boards, anything to make you a little bit happier during the holiday season, because sometimes life is not perfect, but it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. And I think somebody was asking me, I don't know word for word, but they were saying like, how do you not feel like guilt and shame and like embarrassment for wanting to indulge and enjoy the holidays when like other people might be judging you and stuff? And like, it's so silly to even like really hear that out loud, because it's like, what? And I don't mean you that asked me, but I just mean like, it's just sad, I guess, because it's like, you're allowed to be happy, and your life doesn't have to be perfect, but also it doesn't matter what age you're at or what you have or what you do not have. You are allowed to be happy. And also, I even bring this to people who have everything, right? They have the money, they have the great relationships, they have the family, they have like a lot. Like there's definitely listeners who have a lot more than maybe others in my like crowd. And like, you also deserve to be happy. So romanticize your holidays, enjoy it, do what you want, and stop caring so much about what other people are going to say. Because this is what I think. When somebody is trying to like dim your literal Christmas spirit, it's just because their spirit is not lit up. Now, there's definitely reasons why their spirit is not lit up, and we can acknowledge that, and we can like look at it if we want, and we can just like, this is not like a judge game, but like, I'm not going to dim my light and not enjoy my life because you're not enjoying it over here. So have fun with the holidays, please. I love the holidays, and I've learned how to enjoy it and embrace it over many years, and it gets better every single time. And I'm not even anywhere near to like some of the things that I would love to do during the holidays. Now, also, if you want a video on romanticizing winter, if you have not already watched, go to my main channel, because I have a video and I think that might get you in the mood. And like, I was decorating, I was talking about gift ideas and things like that. Somebody asked holiday budgeting and the pressure to spoil loved ones. Well, first of all, if somebody is pressuring you to spend your money on them, that's kind of out of pocket. Like, honestly, that's that's out of pocket. If someone's really going to be like, like, what are you going to get me? And it better be this much money, because at this point they don't deserve anything. But maybe it's like a subtle, like, maybe like all of your friends or all of your family are getting expensive gifts, but then you obviously don't have that money. So like, I totally understand. I honestly think like the best thing that you can do, and I know it's like not the cutest, right? Like it's not like glamorous, but have a conversation with your friends or your family and say, guys, like, I'm so excited for the holidays. I really I love it. I can't wait to get you gifts, but like, this is all I can afford right now. Like I have such a small budget. Like it's so tight, but I just think like communicate in like a nice way. I feel like sometimes people be like, I'm not buying anything for anyone. And like you kind of get into this like Grinch mode of being like, oh, screw Christmas. And it's just like so expensive. And like, or you like ignore, you just don't get people anything. You just don't address it. Like, especially if you guys are like the gift giving type of people. I just think have a beautiful open conversation and be like, y'all, I'm in my 20s and I only got like $20 to my name, or not $20 to your name, but like $20 to be able to spend on like everyone. And like, there's so many people, like, this is all I can do. Just have an open conversation, and I can guarantee you, even if people have the money, they're going to be down to not spend so much money. Like I can guarantee you that. But I think something that's very budget friendly would be doing something of the sorts like a Secret Santa, because then you really are only getting one person something, and then you're also going to get something as well. Or you guys can all just come up with, hey, like we're only going to spend $20 and that's that. Or if you seriously just don't have money, like maybe you guys are deciding to do something that you regularly do, but you have more intention behind it. So, okay, maybe you guys like go to dinner here and there. Okay, we're going to have our girls' night, our date night, or whatever type of night on, I don't know, a day in December. And we're going to like, that's going to be our Christmas dinner, our Christmas celebration. Or you're gonna have somebody's home and everyone's gonna come and everyone's gonna make their own little food or whatever. It doesn't have to be a lot, and everyone's bringing one little thing and you guys are having a wholesome night, and maybe you guys even go out. Like there's definitely ways around it, but I just think in general you have to communicate with people. You have to do it. Don't walk around during the holidays feeling all this guilt and shame. And you're feeling guilt and shame obviously because it's like, of course you want to be able to afford everything, but you end up creating more guilt and shame when you just like don't have these conversations, and then you either like spend too much money that you didn't have, and then that creates a downfall effect for the next season, or you're feeling resentment and then you're feeling stressed. Like you don't have to do that. All right, I got a few questions regarding the pressure that you guys will put on yourself to maintain or lose weight during the holidays, and like food guilt, letting go of your routines, etc., etc. So there's a few ways I probably want to go here. And I know this feeling because that consumed me during the holidays. And this is what I will say first. I feel like when you are hyper obsessed about your body and your body image, and you're telling yourself you are not good where you're at, you tend to care more about these things, especially during the holidays, because you're so addicted to this cycle that you're in of weight loss, because you feel like you must need this body or like lose weight and things like that. It's also not bad that you want that. I'm not saying that. Like when I healed my relationship with food and I moved away from attaching to who I had to be in order to be liked or loved or to like myself, meaning my body, I didn't really struggle during the holidays with food or falling off of things because I wasn't really on this strict anything. And I think just in life, like, do we not want to live a life where we're not too strict? And so anytime something comes up, it doesn't completely like break us down. Like the reason why a lot of the times we fall off of things is because we were on something so strict. I'm not on a strict diet. So when it comes to the holidays, first of all, emotionally, I'm not tied towards food. But even if there are like, I don't know, Christmas things coming up, it's like I'm not really consumed by that because I'm also like not telling myself that I have to be on any sort of diet really, and I'm actually just enjoying the moment. And I understand that I'm not on a weight loss journey, and if you're on a weight loss journey, it's going to be a little bit more consuming, which is fine if you are on a weight loss journey. So then what I'll say if you are, or like whatever journey that you're on, is like you eating, like think about how many things, I don't know how many things you're eating. It depends, right? Like, are you going to Christmas dinner? If it's just one dinner, or if it's two dinners, like that's not going to be the end of the world. That's not going to ruin your progress. You know what's going to ruin your progress? You hyper obsessing over the fact that you had a plate at dinner or two or three. I don't care. Okay. One night you enjoyed the holidays, and then the next day you're stressing about that thing and you continue to binge because you're hyper obsessed over the fact that you did this wrong thing, which is not wrong. I'm quotating this for anyone who's listening audio. So it really is your mindset here. So this is what I'm going to say. Please, please, please go listen and watch the episode that I talked about healing my relationship with food, because that's going to really help you through a lot of things. But I think honestly, kind of coming back to logic for a second, and I definitely did say this in that episode, you having your holiday meal, or I don't know, like maybe just like eating some more treats, it's not going to be the end of the world, and it's not going to completely ruin your progress. So I just like kind of maybe dive into how much of a perfectionist that you are. But also, if you do find that you are struggling staying on any sort of anything, going into the emotional side of yourself, like, why is it that I am so inclined to eat every single sugary item or food thing, or I can't seem to stop myself? Now, usually it's because you've literally put yourself on something so strict, but in general, like, you're just living life. Like, there's always these things available. There's always treats. There's always excess amount of food everywhere. I understand that it's because it's everywhere, like being bombarded in your face, but like, we should get to a place where we can navigate life, which is hard, but we can navigate life where understanding like, yes, there is access to everything, but I choose to fuel and feed my body with things that actually I know make me feel good. And I choose to feel energized and not like crap and on my grind, or not on my grind, sorry, on my routine, I should say, versus everyone else telling me to eat things or this, that. And like, honestly, just bringing it back to boundaries. When you go to your family's house, or you go to your friend's house, or they have a bunch of treats and this, that, you don't have to eat the things that they're telling you to eat. Or, hey, it's because it's here doesn't mean you have to eat it. What I like to do is I want to check in with myself. Am I hungry? Am I hungry? Am I actually craving this right now? And a lot of the times I was not even craving some of these foods that I was eating. It's just I was so restrictive and I was so obsessed, and I was like, oh my God, I have to eat this, da, da, da. Or people were like pushing it on me. But first of all, let me check in with myself. Am I hungry? Do I want this? Am I craving it? If I'm craving it, I'll eat it. I'll eat some cookies if I want to. I'll eat a little Christmas here and there, this, that, and the third. But like, actually, no, my body's not craving that right now. So no, I'm good. And if somebody says, oh no, why don't you have this? Da, 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 I just don't want it. I'm not hungry. And I feel like sometimes, like when I used to do that, because I used to be a health freak, I mean that in like a funny way. I'm not saying anyone who's obsessed with health or freak. Sometimes I feel like I just always have to disclaim everything, because when I speak, I know that there's so many different types of people listening to me, and I'm trying not to offend people. But sometimes, yeah, my family would be like, oh, it's fine. Like, you can have it. It's not going to ruin your progress. But because I've actually healed and like, I'm not really in that mindset anymore. If anyone ever says that to me, I just say, no, it's not because of that. Like, if I wanted, I would. I'm just not hungry. And what is somebody going to tell you? To move past your hunger cues and eat? If they do that, then it's a them problem. It's a them problem, baby. So anyways, I don't know. Boundaries, please go listen to that episode. Understand also that like, it's not the end of the world if you have a holiday plate or two or three. What's more important is the way that you're viewing this thing. And also when it comes to like maintaining and like not going off the rails, I mean, just enjoy the holidays. Understand that, yeah, okay, maybe things will fluctuate, but for the most part, if you're being consistent with your routines, you'll be fine. And somebody even asked about, what did they say? Sorry, let me look. how to use holidays wisely and productive and like break the cycle of laziness. Okay. Well, I think for one, yes, the winter naturally, we naturally move into the hibernation season. So that's okay. Okay. Like you're not moving as much. I'm not doing as many hot girl walks the way that I did in the summer. The winter blues sometimes get you in, you get in these ruts. Those things happen. Like you have to transition a little bit. But thinking about like falling off during the holiday seasons or having to be motivated during the holiday seasons, ask yourself, like, do I have to tell myself or be motivated to brush my teeth during the holiday season? Or do I not just do that every day, every single year? Or like when it comes to sleep, do you take breaks during different seasons of your life? Or do you sleep every single night regardless? I know sometimes, sleep's a little bit iffy, but still, you sleep every single night. So although, yes, our routines are going to change, they shouldn't be changing too much in terms of health and wellness, right? Like, if you're falling off of things like crazy, like it's an internal problem in a way, which we can work on, but it shouldn't be that hard to stay consistent on things, because moving your body and eating and fueling yourself should be a normal part of your day, the same way brushing your teeth is, the same way sleep is. And if it's really hard for you to do those things, let's go deeper. Let's analyze the relationship that we might have towards food. Let's analyze the relationship that we have towards certain habits and, seeing the environmental stresses that are going on in our life. Obviously, those really impact the way that we're going to be able to show up in our lives. But realistically, some of these things should be very normal and healthy. But when I made moving my body and fueling my body and not being so obsessed over different outcomes and body image, when the holidays did come, I didn't find myself having to like keep restarting routines because I never really fell off. And I used to do that a lot. Like I used to by the end of the year, I wasn't even going to the gym or anything like that. But that's not like in my head, there's not like a time during the December that I'm like planning on just not going and then starting in January. And that's also fine if you are somebody who does the falling off thing and starting back, and I make content for you guys to restart things. But my hope with my content is to get you to a point kind of like where I'm at, and I'm not perfect, but to get where I'm at, where you actually don't really need self-development videos to motivate you to get back on something, because you've kind of already been on it. Like that's like where I'm at now. I'm not trying to paint this picture like I'm perfect and like, oh my God, you guys need the videos and I don't. I definitely use motivational stuff. I listen to podcasts to keep me kind of maintaining, but I really am in a level of maintenance with a lot of things, to the point where I'm not really starting and stopping things heavily. There are definitely seasons of life where I ebb and flow, and maybe I'm pulling back on one thing or I've kind of stopped or whatever, but I still have this baseline of brushing my teeth because it's a good thing to do. And like, I do that every single day type of thing. I don't really get to the point where like I'm never moving my body for like a month the way that I used to, or binge eating every single day. Like I don't do that anymore. So anyways, that was a rant, but I think in general, like, let's not make it a big deal. Okay? Eat your holiday plates. I know I will be, and I will be feeling no types of way, and I'll just continue to fuel my body the way that but I also like, my body wants that holiday plate, baby. Like, one thing about me is I want the holiday plate. Like, when I go home for Christmas, I'm eating. I'm not going to eat things I don't want, but I'm going to be eating the things that I do want. So anyways, somebody had asked, where is it? I thought this is actually a really good question. She asked me to give advice on feeling the pressure to celebrate New Year's Eve. And that's a good one. Now, this took me a while to embody this energy of it's not worth it. Like, there was, I would say, I don't know, let's start with like age 18. I mean, I used to always do New Year's stuff, but let's say like 18, because you can drink legally in Canada when you're 18 years old, I think. Wait, 19? Oh my God, actually, I don't know. I literally don't know. So I think it's 19, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, whatever the age, you will usually go to the clubs or like go to parties like it's a normal thing. And I think I definitely continued to do that into my 20s, even though I knew that it literally wasn't worth it. and I didn't actually like it. And I would always feel like shit after, because obviously like you go so hard on New Year's Eve, It was so much money. It just like wasn't what I actually wanted to spend my time doing, but I would do it anyways because everyone else would, like, literally it got to the point where there was no question. It was just the friend group would be like, oh, okay, we're going to this place on New Year's Eve, or like, what are we doing? And like, I would always have that internal feeling for a moment being like, oh, like, I don't know if I even want to do this. But then naturally I would just be a people pleaser and I just would go because I'm like, what am I going to do? And like FOMO, right? But you know what? At the end of the day, you have to think about the pros and cons. Like, you really have to weigh them. Let's say about going out, right? I know not everyone goes out, but for the most part, that's kind of what you do. Is it worth it to you? Like, genuinely, first of all, do you have a good time with the people that are wanting to go out with you on New Year's Eve? Do you enjoy partying or drinking? Do you think that you're getting a real return on your investment, meaning the money that you're spending on your outfits, the money that you're spending on tickets or drinks, where it is that you're even going, your actual energy, and of course your health? Like, those are all things that are like very important to me, that I realized that one night out of the year, standing in the middle of the dance floor saying Happy New Year to people around me who realistically didn't really want to be around was not worth it for me. And boy, did it feel so good when I would stay home and save all my money and save all my energy. Now, this is what I'll also say here, because I went through the phase of like doing so many things I didn't want to do, and then I stopped doing those things and I became a hermit and a homebody, and like partly that was helpful and healing, but then partly I got to the point where I was kind of like antisocial, and I don't like that. I'm very social. So now what I do is I definitely don't do that, like going out. Like, definitely do not catch me at a club or any sort of event for Halloween. I don't know. I guess New Year's Eve, Christmas, like, unless it happens. But like, I'm not like going out of my way to actively like plan this night, really. I don't know. I guess it depends if like you had some like really good, no. It's not even worth it. Anyways, but like, I still want to do something. So for me, I want to make sure that I'm around people that I have a great night around, whether I'm drinking or not, like whatever it is. I want to make sure that we're spending our time doing something fun. So whether that is, let's say I was going to go out to a place, which I would not do. Let's say that I was going to a club. I would make sure that like the music was good and the people and the vibes were good. Like, I'm not going to go to a New Year's Eve event where it's like not my vibe, but I'm also not going to go with people who like I don't really enjoy. But like, you could do so many other things if you really wanted to celebrate. Like, you could have a little shindig at your place or your friend's place, or like doing like, can we bring back, what are they called essentially? House parties. Those are fun. Those are really fun. I don't know. So just, I don't know. Like, I just think that like the worst feeling in the world is waking up the next day and dealing with the fact that you just drained your bank account, you drained your energy, you drained your time, really wasn't worth it. You're probably crying about a guy, you're hungover, whatever, all of those things. And you did that for not only just like one night, because some of those things I was going to say worth it, but they're not really. But sometimes going out late and going out with your friends can be worth it. But this is what I think. The people that I spent my time with, like at the club, or like the club in general, or like where I spent my money, like they're on to the next thing. They don't give a fuck about me. I'm the one that has to deal with the consequences. So essentially, I chose them over myself. And I don't live my life like that. I make sure to choose myself over people who are not going to be there the next day, that have to deal with the consequences of what we just did. Now, also, when it comes to FOMO, understand that there is always a damn party. Even when it comes to buying things, there's always an item that's going to be on sale. There's always going to be an event. There's always going to be another opportunity. So don't jump on things when you're not ready, when you know you're drained, when you're not really like feeling it, because bringing it back to, you can still have a life. I love to go out and have a great time with my friends, to do social things, events, whatever it is that I want. And I know that it will definitely change as I get older, but I'll still want to do social things. But I'm going to make sure that it's things that I actually want to do around people I want to do them with, where my money feels valued, I should say. And I like to tell myself that there's always going to be an opportunity. So if I'm really not feeling the energy, I'm not going to go. But what I used to do is I would have so much FOMO that I would go out on nights where I wasn't feeling good, or it was freezing out, or I knew it wasn't going to be worth it, but I just wanted to go anyways. But then I had to deal with the consequences. Like, there's no need to do that. That's just moving in scarcity. So anyways, I just thought that was good because, yeah, there's definitely people who have that fear of missing out or feel pressured to go out for New Year's or feel like crap because they see everyone else enjoying their nights or this, that. Yeah, or maybe you just don't even drink. Everyone's drinking. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel obligated. Don't, whatever. You live your life, okay? This is the thing. You need to hear this. Maybe not every single person, but I just think even just like the young ones, sometimes you just have to hear it. You need to choose yourself and you need to do what you want to do. What makes you happy? What makes you excited about life? Screw whoever it is that is telling you that you can't be happy doing this thing over here, or they don't like this thing, or your friends are judging you, or oh, you're not cool because you're not coming out to the party or drinking with us, or oh, you don't sleep around with guys, or you don't hook up with guys, or this, that, and the third. And you be yourself, okay? You be yourself. You stay true to yourself. And I hope you have the best holiday. I hope you have the best New Year. I feel like I'm saying that as if I'm going somewhere, like I'm not going to be back. Like, we have more episodes coming. But I hope that this episode helped in any way that it could. Please know that you are not alone. I am damn near alone in this apartment and will be. Actually, I won't. I'll be with my family. But, I mean, it's going to be fine if you are alone this season. It's not going to be like this forever. And you can follow me on Instagram if you want to see what me and my cousins are going to get up to. Because me and my cousins, we are savages at some points in our times. We're going to be going to Miami, actually. My cousin's turning 30, and she wants to go to Miami for her 30th birthday, so I'm going to go, and it's going to be wild. I just know that. But see, one more thing. The fact that I know that I'm going to Miami makes me feel so content with, like, staying in and, like, not going out and, like, doing certain things because I know that this trip is going to be great. My money's going to be well spent. I'm going to be with the people that I want to be with. Like, that, to me, is great. So making sure you have certain nights or trips or plans set in place for you so that the times when, yes, the FOMO comes up or people are hitting up your line, you're like, would love to, but I can't because I got this thing over here that's going to be way better. And to be honest, I wouldn't actually love to. I'm just doing that because I'm just saying that so I don't hurt anyone's feelings. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.